What's up, guys? Diego from SGN. I want to talk about Lukaku officially joining Inter Milan for a fee of around 65 million. I think it was pounds, but it may have been euros. Plus 13 million pounds or euros in additional bonuses that will come across depending on how the player performs, and I guess some other personal achievements that he may or may not achieve. But more than likely, he will achieve them because he's going to be the main player for Inter for probably the next 3 or 4 years, depending on if he actually stays at a club this time. And my biggest issue with Lukaku, and I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty pissed off at him, isn't the fact that he left, because that's all fine and dandy for me. I had no quarrels with the man for wanting to leave because he wasn't fitting the project and he wasn't getting in the game time, and I have no issues with that in any way whatsoever. My issue is, no matter what, if you are under contract with a team who is paying you a shit ton of money, you have to behave in a certain way. And it doesn't matter what sport it is. It doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, American football, hockey. It does not matter. It doesn't matter what job it is. If you are under contract for a big amount of money, more money than you probably deserve, to be completely honest, you should just keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, and work. I don't care if it happens to United. I don't care if it happens to Real Madrid. I don't care if it happens at Liverpool. I don't care if it happens at Man City or Juventus. I don't care where it happens. The same thing with Icardi at Inter, the same thing with, I don't know, who else? Pogba, I guess you could say. There are plenty of or Neymar. There are plenty of players out there that act like dickheads regardless of the fact that they're making millions. More than they should ever make. And yet they still act like this. So they're pretentious little pricks. And Lukaku has turned out to be one of those guys. I didn't think he was going to be one of them because regardless of how things were going, I 100% backed him up until about a week ago. Let's put it this way: like whenever a player complains and stuff like that, as long as he doesn't do it in public, then I don't really have any issues with. Like if David De Gea wanted to join Real Madrid, and I'm sure he probably would love to, but they have Courtois, so it doesn't really make any sense. But if David De Gea wanted to join Real Madrid, considering how shit we are, and considering Real Madrid are still one of the top two clubs in the world, like it's either them or Barcelona, let's just be completely honest, then I have no quarrels with him wanting to join them. He's joining a better situation, a team who's, regardless of what's happening as of last season, they're going to rebound, and they're going to do very well, and they're probably going to compete for the Champions League this season. So I would have zero issues with David De Gea wanting to go there, because he doesn't talk about stuff like that in public. Paul Pogba went out there in public and said he was looking for a new challenge. Lukaku, earlier in the summer, said his dream was to play in Serie A, and he thinks that Antonio Conte is the best manager, which essentially means, please Inter, come sign me. So these are things that bother me, because if you're going to complain, do things in private. Don't go public and just have a bad image for yourself and for the club that you're making millions off of. So I've had a big issue with that for a while now, but I still defended him because I figured, listen, he only said that he would love to play in Serie A. And of course, but the biggest issue is he said that Conte is the best manager in the world, which of course isn't really, I don't think that's even backed up in any way whatsoever by facts. But regardless, it is what it is. But he shouldn't have said that and stuff in public. But I have no issue with the man wanting to leave. I'm completely 100% no issues with that. But putting out training stats and stuff like that, that is just a dirty way to try to get yourself kicked out of the door. And I understand he wanted out, but let's not mistake anything. We also wanted him out. There wasn't a single point in this summer where the club was trying to make sure he stayed. Inter came in with an offer. It was a shit offer. The first offer they made with the 3-year payment with, who was it, like Icardi or something like that, coming the way back. That's a shit deal. Nobody wants Icardi because his fucking wife is a whore. His wife does a bunch of dumb shit. Somebody wants that bitch around. Icardi he's a great player, or at least he's a really good player, but nobody wants him because he's a cancer for the locker room alongside his dumbass wife. There's no other place that Inter could offer, and they didn't have the money, at least. They didn't have the money back then because that was before they got kind of rid of Nainggolan, and of course that's kind of a weird thing because they are still paying for his contract and all that stuff. He's still paying the majority of his wages and stuff, so I guess Inter came out and have some money out of nowhere, or maybe they were just kind of lowballing to see if they could milk their way by saying that they didn't have any money to see if they can maybe get a better deal than they probably thought they could. But regardless, Juventus came in with the Dybala trade. Apparently, that was a pretty decent offer, and I probably personally would have taken it because it made sense for both United and Juventus. But Dybala, rightfully so, not wanting to leave a potential Champions League contender, alongside also, of course, playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, alongside the fact they're pretty much guaranteed to win the Serie A, probably going to win the Coppa Italia. So that's 2 or 3 trophies they could win playing alongside the best player in the world, and in my opinion, the best player of all time. So it makes sense for him to not want to leave that to go play in the Europa League. So I have no issues with Dybala saying no. But at the same time, Lukaku needs to understand that at no point in this summer transfer window was the club trying to make sure he was unable to leave. They were trying to secure his transfer all summer long because we didn't want him, or at least Solskjaer didn't want him because he doesn't really fit the style. The club was clearly probably saying that he was causing some issues inside the locker room, so good riddance. So as of right now, that's my opinion. Fuck off, Lukaku, good riddance. Enjoy pretty much ruining your career at Inter because yes, they have Marotta, who is a very, very savvy man in terms of doing his job. Antonio Conte is a very good manager, but at the same time, I feel like going to Inter, going to Serie A, is pretty much the downfall of your career. Because let's just be honest, who goes to Serie A and from then on actually improves their status of their career? Maybe Higuain, but Higuain had 1 good season at Napoli, or maybe 2 good seasons at Napoli, but from then on, he didn't really do anything. He was a failure at Chelsea. He was a failure at Milan. He's probably going to be a failure at Juventus if he stays there this season. He's not really going to get a lot of game time. Well, he probably will get a lot of game time because they have no other strikers, but I don't really think he's going to do much. If he goes to Rome, it's going to be even worse because Rome's a shit club. Where's he going to go? Nobody wants Higuain. So going to Serie A really didn't do much for him except for that season with Napoli. Cristiano Ronaldo went to Serie A, and I think it's easily the biggest mistake of his career because he went to a club that's going to win things easily, so nobody's going to ever give him credit for what he's going to win. They're not going to win the Champions League because the club is basically leaking money, so they have no choice but to sell their best players, a.k.a. getting rid of Cancelo to bring in Danilo, who's a shit defender, a.k.a. trying to get rid of Mandzukic, a.k.a. trying to get rid of Dybala. So yeah, they basically were completely unable to improve their team in any way and actually made their team a lot worse this summer. So Juventus are just further proof that Serie A is a joke league at this moment. There's no money in the league, nobody cares about the league, and no players that actually are still relevant, except for Cristiano Ronaldo, want to go play in Serie A. And Ronaldo, we all know why he did it. He figured, let's see, if we win the Champions League with Juventus, guess what? He's going to go under history as probably the only player, I think, to have won it with 3 different clubs. As a player, of course, not as not including manager and stuff like that. So that's a pretty big feat, and of course he would be the hero who won Juventus their first Champions League after over 20 years. So it kind of made sense from that point of view, but the whole idea of this being a challenge for Ronaldo is just a kind of a joke because there really is no challenge by moving to Juventus, and I just think that this is pretty much the downfall of Lukaku's career because as long as he was still in the Premier League or maybe in La Liga, he was still going to be considered among the elite in terms of what he could do. But playing with Inter, realistically, they're not going to be Champions League contenders this season. They're more likely not going to be Serie A title contenders. But they probably still would do better. They'll probably finish 3rd, I think, maybe even 2nd, depending on what Conte can do compared to Ancelotti. Because Napoli, I think, are probably still the better team. It's just, we'll see what happens because both teams do have 0 depth. So it's a matter also of who can stay fit. And Lukaku is far from fit, so we'll see how he starts off the season and how he progresses, and maybe he can get rid of the weight. But regardless, I think this is a good deal for both United and Inter. But I just think that for Lukaku personally, this is a good deal on paper, but I think it's the downfall of his career. And I can honestly say good riddance to Lukaku. I am embarrassed of having his jersey and I was going to pull it out, but honestly, I don't have any desire to waste my time going through my closet, finding that jersey, and pulling it out here for a guy who pretty much doesn't deserve it considering how he's kind of mistreated himself and the club and really just looked like a fool, in my opinion, throughout this whole situation. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of Lukaku going over to Inter, and what do you think, who do you think got the better deal out of it? I personally think United got the better deal because we pretty much got the money we spent out of him, and it was a player that doesn't really fit Solskjaer's plans, so it's a big cut for the wage bill because of course we didn't sign any replacements, and it gives more room for Rashford, for Martial, for Greenwood, and potentially if we do bring in a free agent like say Llorente or something like that, somebody's going to play a few minutes here and there, not really have a lot of pressure on him, but somebody who in difficult situations like we saw that he did with Tottenham last season, he can come in, he can do a job, and he can actually win you a few pretty big games. Because of course he did win that game for Tottenham against City in the Champions League semifinal. So he's a very good player. If we do get him, I'll be happy about that. I don't really know who's available in terms of free agents, but I guess we'll see what happens. But regardless, man, I'm excited for this season. It starts literally tomorrow. This video will probably be out the day the season starts. So That's just because it takes forever to upload for me unless I go to work, which has much better internet. So I will upload at work. So you will see this tomorrow more than likely. But regardless, there's going to be a podcast coming out probably tomorrow, day after tomorrow, actually, doing a complete breakdown of what happened in the transfer window. And of course, in the next couple of days, you will see my official predictions for the Premier League season. And I will be doing the other big leagues across Europe very soon. But it's still a while until their transfer market closes. So I won't be doing them immediately. It will take a while. But as of right now, plenty of stuff coming to the channel. Hopefully, you guys will check it out. And I will also leave the link in the description down below for my Twitch channel, because I'm going to be playing a lot of FIFA over the next few days, just because I'm getting ready for a tournament. I think it's the 16th. So I need to kind of prepare myself, because I haven't played in probably 2 months as of right now, maybe more. Well, I don't know. It probably hasn't been 2 months, probably a month and a half. So I need to get back into shape, because if I can get myself a nice console or maybe even a free game, then I'll be pretty happy about that. But I need to win the tournament or finish second to be able to do that. And having not played for a while, it doesn't really bode well for me. So check all that stuff out. Thank you guys for sticking around with this long ass outro, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.